Did you ever think I could do it?
Kendall Roy's pursuit of power and validation met a tragic ending. Succession, in its poetically cruel way, revealed to us that Kendall never stood a chance. Every one of his grandiose endeavors at the CEO crown was followed by a disillusioned downfall. Although he showed promise and was close to success multiple times, Kendall's downfall was made inevitable by his core wounds and ingrained patterns, self-sabotage, addiction, and having a singular definition of self-worth. Kendall's first attempt to take over the company from his father was when he plotted a vote of no confidence. The timing was in Kendall's favor. Logan was in poor health following a brain aneurysm. Senior executives of the company were skeptical about whether Logan was physically and mentally fit to run the company. Judging by the board's sentiment, Jerry estimated that 3 of the board members would vote for Logan, 5 against, and 3 unknowns, meaning Kendall only needed to secure 1 more vote to win. Most importantly, Kendall had a clear motivation. With Logan clinging to power, he will always live in his father's shadow and wouldn't be taken seriously.
Do you want to call your dad?
Do I want to call my dad? No, I don't want to call my dad. Do you want to call your dad?
So how did Kendall lose a good hand? On the surface, it seems like he just got unlucky. He flew to Long Island to get another vote and was not able to arrive at the board meeting on time because of temporary flight restriction and bad traffic. And with Logan refusing to leave the room when the voting took place, board members who were favoring Kendall ended up voting for Logan out of fear and intimidation. But is this the full story? Perhaps a better question to ask is, was Kendall actually ready to overthrow his father? This scene provides some answers.
I haven't had one of these in, I don't even know.
You gonna eat it?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
Hey, good.
Before the voting, Kendall had dinner with Logan. He was nervous Logan may be aware of the vote, but Logan was clueless. He was simply eating burgers and watching the football game. The nostalgia and the bonding moments reinforced Kendall's doubt.
Hey, Frank. Listen, is this like objectively horrible? You know, we could hold off. You know, we could put this together next quarter.
Ken, you made this happen.
It's hard enough to get 5 people together for a fucking dinner.
You might never get another shot.
It's worth noting that at this point, Kendall had already secured the 1 extra vote he needed to have an edge over Logan. Sure, Lawrence's vote might fall through in the end since he hated Kendall, but Lawrence is picking the lesser of the 2 devils here. Logan would kill his company Volter, so voting for Kendall will likely be his best bet. For Kendall, it's also about assessing risk. Going for the 1 extra vote for reassurance by making a last-minute trip, or staying put and focusing on solidifying the votes from board members who already favored him. He could have also sent a senior member like Frank or Jerry on his behalf and dialed into the meeting to rally for the vote. Kendall should know very well the uncertainties associated with flying. Weather, mechanical issues can all cause delays. So was he bad at calculating risk, or was his subconscious not wanting to succeed, prompting him to make the wrong call last minute to sabotage it all? If it's not convincing yet, the bear hug hostile buyout attempt clearly showed Kendall's self-sabotaging pattern. Once again, Kendall had a good hand. He had financial backing from Logan's long-term rival Sandy to make a very compelling offer that can take the company out of Logan's control. Logan was not in a good position. Being away from New York for Shiv's wedding in the UK, Logan would be taken by surprise and likely wouldn't have time to put together a defense. But similar to the vote of no confidence, Kendall's spiral started after he confronted Logan. In this scene, when Kendall was informing Logan about the takeover, we see a man in his prime, all suited up, and facing him, an old man in his underclothes. But ironically, the power dynamic in the room is the opposite.
Do you even know what you're doing this for?
Ideas. I have, I've wanted to do things to save the company and do things that are.
You see, you can't even fucking say it.
I can say it.
Overwhelmed by guilt and self-doubt, Kendall resorted to substance abuse yet again, drove under the influence, lost control of the car, causing the death of a young waiter that was in the car with him. Logan was likely keeping an eye on Kendall and had already known what happened the next morning. He first offered Kendall a resolution.
Tell Sandy you're out. Tell Stewie the thing looks like a shit show. Go to the desert. Try yourself out.
Then he issued Kendall a threat.
This could be the defining moment of your life. It'd eat everything. A rich kid kills a boy. You'd never be anything else.
And finally, he gave Kendall what he needed most, acceptance and validation from his father.
You're my boy. You're my number one boy.
This negotiation tactic shattered Kendall's final line of defense.
I'm sorry. No.
Despite of Kendall's conscious desire for success, he couldn't escape his self-sabotaging pattern. It might seem contradictory, but this behavior happens in the subconscious mind, which occupies about 95% of brain activity. The underlying logic of self-sabotage is to support dysfunctional beliefs. Although Kendall acts ambitious and self-righteous at times, deep down, he believes he's inadequate and unworthy of love. So it might seem like he feared failure, but at his core, he equally feared success. So no matter how good of a hand he had and how close he was to the finish line, he would undercut his own abilities to achieve his goals, leading to a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy. Throughout the show, we see Kendall turning to drugs as a coping mechanism for regulating difficult emotions, but his addiction extends beyond drugs. If we look at Kendall's behaviors in the lens of addiction, it's easier to understand why he was meant to fail not only professionally, but also in his personal life. When he's not coping with coke, his short-lived romance is another dopamine hit.
It hasn't worn off, right? Like that was a century-defining fuck.
Kendall's relationship with Jennifer, the actress, started with love bombing, followed by the grandiose gesture of sending a jet to fly her to Scotland, and ended as soon as Jennifer couldn't hold a conversation with Logan at his anniversary party.
You you said awesome a lot.
What?
You said awesome a lot when you were talking to my dad.
His relationship with Naomi Pierce that started with trauma bonding over substance abuse also failed to blossom into anything meaningful. As a father, Kendall also made grandiose gestures like getting his children a gigantic rabbit, but he failed to show up when they actually needed emotional support, like when his daughter was harassed by a supporter of the presidential candidate that Kendall was endorsing. Like drugs, love activates the brain's reward system, causing a flood of feel-good hormones. But true love is not chasing a high. It's hard work. It's consistently showing up for others, recognizing their needs instead of using them as narcissistic supply. Kendall wanted to feel seen and accepted as a partner and a father, yet he failed to fulfill both roles. But it's hard to hate Kendall because he's also a victim of narcissistic abuse from Logan. Despite being Logan's loyal puppet for the entire season 2, Kendall was still chosen as the blood sacrifice to take the fall for the cruise scandal, where the executives of Waystar's cruise division were involved in serious criminal incidents including sexual assault, rape, and even murder of cruise workers. Once again, it all seemed promising when Kendall turned on his father at the press conference.
The truth is that my father is a malignant presence, a bully and a liar, and he was fully personally aware of these events for many years and made efforts to hide and cover up.
In this zoomed-in angle, we see Logan's micro-expression, a slight upward twitch at the corner of his mouth. Logan was impressed. Perhaps he had underestimated Kendall. Perhaps Kendall had finally unleashed the killer instinct that Logan believed he lacked. The crusade against the evil corporates sent Kendall over the moon. The attention he received and the adrenaline rush made him ecstatic.
Good tweet!
Okay, allies don't always come in the form we like, but what Kendall Roy did was important and brave.
Boom!
Kendall was able to hire a high-profile lawyer known for defending victims to help him with the battle against Waystar. This helped position him as the good guy fighting for positive changes. Kendall had a good start, but he underestimated the challenge of implicating a powerful conglomerate.
Well, the stuff that works for Foreign Corrupt Practices Act is inferential. Waystar was careful.
So you're saying the papers are bullshit?
I'm just saying they lack some of the explosiveness it was suggested they might have.
Waystar used its legal resources and political connections to put up a good defense against investigations from the Department of Justice. The truth is, this is an uphill battle, not a quick fix to make Kendall a cultural icon who can save Waystar from unethical players. Having realized there's no quick win, Kendall wanted to cash out his shares while taking the moral high ground and playing the victim.
But what you've done is you've monetized all the fucking the American resentments of class and race.
And I thought I was just telling folks the weather.
You've turned black bile into silver
Oh,
dollars.
you just noticed, did you?
Look, whatever. Let me out. Okay? Pay up and let me out. I don't want to be you. I'm a good guy.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. Kendall doesn't want to own up to his failure, so he deludes himself by claiming that he's conceding because he doesn't want to become corrupt like Logan and the rest of the world. But money and privilege are the very reasons he gets to sit at this dinner table rather than in a jail cell after causing a fatal car accident. Kendall was naive, superficial, and hypocritical. He was not ready to make any real sacrifices necessary to fight for justice. It was never about justice in the first place. Exposing the crew's cover-up was simply a thrill-chasing, validation-seeking rebellion. Ultimately, Kendall lacked the grit, patience, and dedication necessary to see through a difficult process. We see a recurring theme of chasing the high in Kendall, whether through superficial relationships or exposing corporate misconduct. Inevitably, none of these were able to help him accomplish real transformations and build meaningful connections. Much like a bad calm down, what's left after the high is just emptiness and loneliness.
So hard to give honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. He fucking promised it to me. Promised. When I was 7. He sat me down at the Candy Kitchen in Bridgehampton and he fucking promised it to me. 7 years old.
From a young age, Kendall was instilled with the belief that he's the natural successor to the company, the rightful heir to the throne. This kind of early childhood conditioning shaped his identity and self-worth. Even though throughout the show, we've also seen Logan dangling the CEO position in front of Shiv and Roman as a tool of manipulation, the difference is, this happened in their adulthood after their identities have developed and matured. So compared to his siblings, Kendall has a sense of entitlement and desperation for becoming the CEO of Waystar. As children of narcissistic and emotionally unavailable parents, all the Roy siblings develop their own coping mechanism. Connor copes by detaching from reality. Roman copes with pain. Shiv copes by denying herself the ability to love and trust. Kendall, on the other hand, copes by creating a mental shortcut, which is becoming the CEO of Waystar is the answer to all his problems. In Season 4, Logan decided to sell Waystar to Gojo since the media landscape was shifting towards digital. Selling to a leading streaming company will not only modernize Waystar, but also allow Logan to exit with a substantial profit while avoiding a messy succession drama with his children. Unfortunately, Logan passed away before completing the Gojo deal. Kendall was appointed as temporary co-CEO along with Roman following Logan's death. But to maintain his position and control of the company, Kendall would need to block the sale to Gojo by gathering enough votes from the board. It was exciting to see the Roy siblings join forces in an effort to keep Waystar under the Roy family name. They formed a voting bloc and agreed to back Kendall for the CEO position against Tom, who was Gojo's appointed CEO candidate. Kendall was very close to his dream until it all fell apart at the final board meeting. When Shiv was casting the deciding vote, she was held back by her doubt about Kendall's competence.
I might have changed my mind.
What the fuck?
At this pivotal moment, what Shiv needed was reassurance. She was choosing between her brother and her estranged husband, who's also the father of her unborn child. For her to vote for Kendall, she needed to be convinced that Kendall is more capable of protecting her interests than Tom. Kendall could offer her incentives like equity or a leadership position. He could also undermine Tom's credibility. Tom has betrayed Shiv for Logan, and he played a central role in the cruise cover-up, which was arguably worse than Kendall's DUI car accident in terms of the number of lives destroyed. But instead of being tactful, Kendall desperately pleaded with Shiv.
I am like a cog built to fit only one machine. I feel like if I don't get to do this, I feel like that's it. Like I might die.
His desperation then escalated into a full-blown breakdown.
Doesn't even make any sense! I'm the eldest boy!
Kendall's identity and self-worth were defined by one thing and one thing only, becoming the CEO of Waystar. When this was on the line, it triggered his deepest fear, that he is unworthy. This activated a psychological crisis, sending him to survival mode where his emotional brain would hijack his logic and executive functioning. So the more he wanted the CEO job, the further away it got. Like Marcia had said to Shiv,
"He made you a playground and you think it's the whole world."
For Kendall, Logan built him a prison and he thinks it's the whole world. Nothing else could put a light in Kendall's eyes like the CEO position, not even his own children. Like the producer of Succession, Jesse Armstrong, had said, good tragedy should feel inevitable. That's why Kendall is such a compelling character, and that's why he was destined to fail.